Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something. Izzo.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning, everybody. Welcome to Hot Mic on a beautiful day, the 21st day of May, 2026. Great to be back in studio. Shout out to my guy, Sam Getzinger, for filling in for me yesterday. We had fun on the zoo field trip yesterday. More on that later on in the show. Today is a big day for you college football nerds out there. We mentioned it on Tuesday. For some, we were officially 100 days out. Today, the countdown clock can, quote-unquote, officially begin because we're 100 days out from the start of the new college football season. Week 0 for the last time. We'll acknowledge that because next year it all starts a bit earlier. But 100 days from today, August the 29th, is North Dakota State's first football game as an FBS school. And how about this way to start our show? We have the head coach of the Bison to start our show off this morning. I believe right before he's going on vacation. It's a good way to remind him that, hey, you're 100 days out from a football game. Did you need a reminder, Tim Polasek? Did you know that today is 100 days out?
The only reason I knew came in the office, and Derek Lucan, Todd Phelps, and Teamworks, or our communication platform, has advanced so much that now the video that we have a countdown clock in the weight room and up in the offices, and then that's also tied to like our workout and our performance highlight. And so that was the only reason I knew. And then I got the message from you, and I was excited to do it. It's kind of that like reality check. Okay, spring recruiting, we're in the middle of that. We know camps are coming up, official visits of 30 guys this June, and so forth and so on. But it's also time, okay, guys, check back in with your guys. They've only been gone for like 10 days, but they need to be dialing it in. Next week, we roll.
You've been on the road, which I know you talked to us about the end of spring practice. This is the last time you could do it in this particular window. How successful? I know it has been. You can't talk specifically, but I know it's been successful. We had your future quarterback on earlier this week. What was this last stretch for you on the road been like?
There's been some really unique, fun, dynamic conversations. I've really enjoyed, I'll tell you what, it looks like we're being more aggressive in certain areas. And I guess if you just look at paper and offers, but the work that Pat Lilly, like in Eric Amoko, in Dallas, combining what information he had coming into here, we were able to run and get on some targets. That was really good. And then it being backed up by some evaluations now with more people in our recruiting department, Josh Rosenthal. Just a different vibe. I felt more comfortable being out there with the high school coaches and then being able to get on the attack and try to set those guys on some visits. And then, Scottsdale and Vegas are going to produce at least a couple official visits. I'm a little bit on edge when you only get one shot when they're on campus the first time. Yeah. I'm much better if they're on campus 2 and 3 times. So it was awesome. I really tried to look at it like, not a final hurrah or anything, but like, if this is the last time I'm going to be out in spring, let's enjoy it because you guys know how much I do appreciate being out there. But then I get on the phone with Jake Dicker, and one of the conversation pieces is to put the head coaches back on the road 15 to 20 times from January to the end of spring. And so they'll change the calendar again, I promise you, and we'll continue to try to work through it.
I want to go back to, you mentioned new locales, Las Vegas being one. You've hit Arizona in the past, but tell me about now a concerted effort to go into now Mountain West locations to try and recruit high school football players.
I kind of look at things a couple different ways. The senior camp stuff is changing. Okay, so there was a certain element of going out there and you knew that you had a real shot to get a certain level of prospect to still come to camp. As that kind of drifts away and falls away, yes, being out on our targets and being out on our primary people is important, but getting the data on 28s and collecting names on 28s and trying to make sure we're ahead in that ballpark has become equally as important. And so I do think with the people that we have, we can handle, okay, let's get into Vegas for 2 days in the winter and a day or two in the spring. Let's get into Scottsdale for 3 days in the winter, 2 to 3 days, depending on the volume of the prospects. And so I thought those were easy fits. You know, we were really smart about, okay, where do you start? How do you get back to Fargo financially? We're trying to really do a good job still respecting and honoring the budget as far as recruiting goes. And then I like the idea of Devin just kind of sliding through Kansas, you know, the junior colleges down to Tulsa as well.
I guess I know the level of player in Texas and California. Is the level of player really good in Las Vegas? I'll ask you, is it pretty good right now?
Well, I think the one thing is you got to have some presence according to where you play. That's first. I think we do have a national brand, and the reason I'm comfortable saying that we do have a national brand. Okay, and when you're in those areas, the B matters a lot more than the C. Recognizability, you know, those kids are into recruiting. It's a different kind of mindset. You know, they want to play at the very highest level possible, maybe not just the very best program for them. And so as you get into those areas, yeah, I think so. I think there's enough. You know, if you really look at it, there's about 45 to 50 schools that track in a general area. So if we come up with 12 targets, that could be 2 days of work, and then we can move on. It's just, can we be consistent in there like we are in Minnesota, like we are in Wisconsin, like we want to be, you know, moving forward in Kansas City and Omaha.
Let me ask you now, you mentioned it's 100 days out, so, and I know you've had some coaches already working on early games. So let me just, Jacksonville State is right off the hop. What kind of work has been done to get ready for Jacksonville State?
Yeah, and guys, we got to move past this. We just all got to recognize it. You're not looking at personnel that's going to carry over. So that's the complicated thing with game ones. And we got this isn't changed. We've been doing this for 5 years now. So being able to be rule and principle oriented going into that game and trusting what we're doing in fall camp is going to be critical. But they're a multiple front team that does, you know, the coverages complement each other very well. And so us being able to recognize that at the quarterback position and play through progressions is going to be important. Obviously, what I see across the board in all three phases, there's athleticism. You know, just like when we played them back in whatever it was, 14?
15. Yeah.
And 15. I'm sorry. And you're encouraged there. And then offensively, they have some weapons that they can obviously deal the ball to and get into space. And I think they're well coached up front in the offensive line, and that's kind of a broad deal, but it's exciting, right? The first FBS game in the Dome, it's a opponent that we kind of at least recognize the name, and you know I think 9-win team, and so it's a very formidable opponent. It's just the personnel stuff always has me on edge a little bit.
They got a 6'8" wide receiver that gets me, that get my attention looking at them. Like that's got to be the tallest wide receiver we're ever going to see in the Dome, I would think.
Well, it was funny because one of the guys mentioned that or something, and I just said, well, make sure we get our hands on him, disrupt him. You know, but that's about as much as I've known about him. I'm going to do a good job. You know how busy I've been with some other things. You know, I got to make sure I do a really good job. If it's raining, I'm going to be in here. Okay, some mornings, and I got to really do a nice job in the summertime of getting acclimated with all the opponents. You know, I've done my due diligence on Air Force. I've watched New Mexico enough last year. Man, are they tough. They're a good football team. Wyoming's got a really good front. You know, I think their D tackles are extremely good. And this is really going to be fun. I keep coming back to it's going to be a process. We're going to be really competitive. If we stay healthy, you know, we've got a good football team. But, like, I just keep looking at every turn. These teams bring something to the table that's a little bit different than the Missouri Valley week in and week out.
You have been tinkering still with your football roster. I don't know how specific you can get with the guys you've added, but tell me about that process of adding some more depth at wide receiver, another depth at running back. You got a guy at a Notre Dame at corner. Just tell me, after evaluating what the spring was, that we still want to add pieces here.
Well, we knew – it's kind of interesting. We knew we'd have some flexibility. Okay, again, the decision when it came in – was at just a really finite time. Because even like if you look at some of the guys that we added late in the 26 class, some walk-ons,
Yep.
maybe we would have held on to 105's counter spots because we know we have more wiggle room with scholarships. And so as Grant Olson, he's kind of the numbers guy as far as scholarship allocation and things like that. Continue to look at that. It's just some opportunity popped up. And then unfortunately we had 2 season-ending injuries. With Braylon Tolliver, we're going to take our time with him, man. Is he a special talent? And Tucker Thyman is equally. I mean, he was doing a really nice job, but those guys are not going to be back and ready. So you kind of can inactivate them. We honor their scholarship, and then that's where the portal is a positive.
Yeah.
You find some seniors that are just going to come off your roster. There's 2 guys that in December will be done. So that's one thing. The second thing is we've lost a lot of talent, and I thought we just had a little bit of a gap, like in numbers, at the receiver position. If you look at the juniors and you look at the sophomores, what's kind of there? I mean, Jackson Williams should really be a redshirt freshman. And so there's just a little bit of a gap, and I understand it. It happens in recruiting. And so we looked at it, and we needed to identify, and we needed to take a shot. Okay, I'm not saying we're gambling. We were thorough. But we needed to take a shot at adding the 2 senior pieces. And we'll see if the Jacksonville State, McCants gets his second year.
Yep.
But that might provide a punch. And then you look at Tucci, okay, I just like that he's kind of filling a gap. I told him, this is more of a high school recruiting deal because he's got 3 to play. And, man, this guy can fly. 10'6", and he's 6'3", 200 pounds. And so I'm excited about those additions. And then, obviously, I just wanted have to create competition. And Braylon was doing that at running back. And, man, am I excited about that addition at running back as well. I call him Neil.
Yeah.
So
well, and he can fly as well. He was a track guy. We had him on a couple weeks ago, and Pooney just his highlight tape, Tim, just pops when you're looking at it.
Well, his spirit and energy, and him and Tucker both, I think, can provide some leadership in the middle of the season. They are very high-level intellectual kids that want to be part of a great culture. I'm excited about that, and I still think he's a little bit young to football in ways.
Yeah.
And maybe we can. I told Sam, I want you with him some in the summer. With Zooms. Can we get his best football in his senior year? He's an impressive. Take King Frazier, and kind of add some Bruce Anderson elements of his body type. That's kind of what you're looking at, except taller. He's a big kid.
For people that don't know, for fans that now the calendar is so different, we talked about the calendar, but for coaches now, is this your only window you have quote-unquote off? July is going to get hijacked here, we know soon. So can you fill people in on what the next few weeks are like? I know you have camp season coming, but what's the next couple weeks like for you and your staff?
Well, I'm so grateful for the time with Coach Bull because he was able to kind of talk about these shifts and where the calendars are kind of going. And so what we're kind of doing, first of all, we don't say no to anything. I mean, I can't wait to get to the Foundation Golf event out in Bismarck. I can't wait to be in Holly again. Unfortunately, I'm going to miss Velva because I'll be at Media Days in Vegas. But my point there, I guess, is we've shifted a couple quote-unquote vacation days to like a Friday in February. Okay, this week, right now that we're going into, there's coaching staffs that'll be off all next week. Penn State, for an example.
Yeah.
Iowa State, I know coaches are driving to their lake place right now. And so today, our guys don't know it, but I'm going to cut them loose at 12 o'clock, and I'm going to ask them to be back here on Tuesday. It's our first year in this first league. We need to work, but we do need to get away. So to answer your question, yes, I think I've been gone 22 out of where we sit today, 22 out of 26 or 27 nights or something like that. Dan Larson's been back in the office doing some scripting for fall camp. We basically, when we get back, I don't know that there's an off day in there until June 23rd. And it's high intensity with the official visits, a lot of coaching at the camps. I'm so excited about our junior high camp with pads on. I told our guys, get ready to coach. They deserve to be coached from stances to starts to finish. And that's an exciting time, but June has become a disaster as far as what we're handling, but it's just part of the job. Yeah. And then we'll take basically about 2.5 weeks off. And then we're kind of some flexible office hours getting around our kids. And then you know how it is. we're up and running on whatever the 23rd or 24th of July, and here we go.
A couple last things for you, and I appreciate you doing this morning. Josh Rosenthal was here. That is another evolution of a position. Describe how you got him and what that his exact role, I'm sure is going to be fluid going forward, but what his role is going to be now on the team.
Well, his role is right now, when I was on the road, it's just another unbelievable sounding board. You know, in addition to Dan and Grant, because I'm a guy that likes to talk through recruits, and I'm a guy that likes to challenge our coaches. Do you want to coach this guy? This is what I saw. So now there is an element, and Pat was good in the evaluations, but Pat is just getting hammered from on campus to faculty to administration and like so many things to do in between. But Josh is another great sounding board. The idea is for Josh to do a good enough job that someday I would call him the GM. He knows that. I'm not afraid of saying that, but I'm not interested in giving that guy a title that he's in his first 6 months. And so that's kind of the idea behind it. And it already has taken a lot of pressure off of me as far as scholarship allocation. What do we have available? That's kind of Grant and Josh. When we get to the NIL stuff in December, and we're going to hold on to as much money as we can to retain as many players as possible, Josh is going to be at the forefront with Pat, with Grant, and so that I can lead the team and I can develop culture and I can lead and coach football rather than all that other stuff, and then have a little bit more energy and juice for those things. I'm excited about it. Hey, listen, that South Dakota team got good in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I think based on my knowledge, Bob Nielsen, number one. Number two, I was told Josh was right there building that roster out. And I respected that, and we did our due diligence, and we're excited to have him.
For people that don't know, how is that common now? Most all FBS teams, Power 4 teams, certainly have general managers, right?
Yeah, I don't know where 138 general managers showed up. Okay, and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, in our program, things are earned. Okay, and that's the direction that we need to go, because otherwise I won't be a better coach tomorrow. I'll be a better head coach, CEO, I hope. But there's too much on our plates as far as managing NIL. We're trying to keep that tight with the earn it system and things like that. But yeah, to answer your question, Dom, yes, it's kind of a sexy term too. You know, it's a director of player personnel position, and then it's a segue to the cap.
Last thing, we even you were in here, I think, shortly after the contract stuff became out. Now it's official. Tell me about I know you told Kolpak last week, it's not about the name, it's about the program. But describe that for people that don't understand, I would say this is the going rate if you're an FBS head coach. Having it all done, tell me about hey, it's done, we can focus and move forward, I guess.
Yeah, I've gotten some really cool texts from support, On one side of it, it's awfully humbling, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I've never had a goal with a dollar amount or anything like that. But the reality is that our hat's got to go off to our support. We're not diving into taxpayer dollars and so forth and so on. So it is what it is. I'm so grateful and appreciative. I understand college coaches are getting paid X amount of money right now and nowadays. I mean, you see the renewals of contracts after a 9-win season. So we're fully committed to it. We're very grateful and thankful. But I can tell you over time, this football job isn't like just from fall till the end of the season. We're on this thing, we're available, and I'm not sure what the deal is, but the position at North Dakota State, the head coaching position, along with the coordinators, along with the assistant coaches at this level need to be a certain amount of money to keep people and to be competitive. One of the first things kids ask is, Coach, like, what kind of contract did you sign? How long are you going to be there? Mm-hmm. And that's actually paid some dividends for us in the recruiting world. And so my final thoughts on this is not about Tim Polasek. I'm very appreciative of it. I'm grateful. It's just the position moving forward in FBS football is going to be in this realm. I mean, of $1 million plus. And that's just FBS football right now. I mean, if people knew what starting quarterbacks were getting paid when they come out of high school or recruits at the FBS level, they'd be shocked. I think the going rate is starting at 1.5.
Wow. Out of high school?
out of high school for those very top tier guys. I tell you, I was with Tristan Wirfs. He took me out for dinner, and I got to hang out with him. I'm not going to say any names, but he said, rookies are really struggling understanding that their job is to have the beef jerky stocked in the O-line room in the refrigerators. But we're not getting away from that here at NDSU. Yeah. Earn it, know your place, those kind of things. It's getting a little bit sporty, and the good news is with our program, hopefully everybody continues to support it because it is based on retention and earn it moving forward, and that goes for coaches as well.
Appreciate the time. The countdown is officially on. Have a great holiday weekend, and we'll catch up soon, okay?
Yeah, I look forward to seeing all the videos. You got to get creative this year. Let's find some new ones.
I've got some new ones. I got some stuff planned for it. Don't you worry.
All right, go Bison.
All right, there he goes. Thanks, Tim. Tim Polasek joining us, head football coach, North Dakota State. We are officially now 100 days out from the Bison opener with Jacksonville State. A week from yesterday, we will find out the time and the network. I'll have my prediction on that over the weekend. I'm going to do that for a story, but for those listening, I'll give you a heads up. It's going to be 6:30 on CBS Sports Network. That's what we're going with right now. That's a moderately informed guess. It's the best way I can phrase that. But he's talking about the countdown videos. For those that follow me on social media know I do the 100-day countdown, which official first one goes at about 40 minutes. 10 o'clock every day we'll do that. With that, we say good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. We got a packed guest lineup. That was a heck of a way to start. We got some other great guests coming up here. Our lineup is brought to us always by Northwestern Mutual. Coming up in about 15 minutes, I'm really excited to have Madison McKeever with us, the pride of Erskine, Minnesota, who won a state championship at Winnemac. Had a great career at the University of South Dakota. She is now the women's basketball head coach at Bemidji State. That became official yesterday. Maddie's been assistant coach at St. Thomas for the last 4 years with Ruth Sin. Now she's a head coach in the NSIC. Excited to have Madison join us at 9:35. Our second hour, you'll meet, I think, literally the next big thing in North Dakota high school girls basketball. AnnaClaire Bugbee will join us from Mandan, North Dakota. You have seen her the last couple of years of the state tournament. She was fantastic this past year in the WDA, second-team All-State selection. Recruiting has certainly picked up for her. South Dakota State, North Dakota State, South Dakota all offered in the last 72 hours, I want to say. So we'll visit with her at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, Andrew Nagy, newest member of the North Dakota State men's basketball team, will join us, transferring in from Point Loma College out in California. Might be the last addition to this team, 6'9". He was a D2 conference player of the year for his school, transferred in from Long Beach State, so he has D1 experience. He will join us at 10:35. So a lot to get to here on a busy Thursday. Glad you're joining us. We'll take our first break. We come back. A dominant day for Joe Ryan yesterday and the Twins. Highlights of that and a recap of a busy day of the NBA and NHL playoffs. Hot Mic is off and rolling. We're back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. All right, off and rolling, everybody, on a Thursday morning. Thanks to Tim Polasek for getting our show started. I am not officially saying, we're ignoring summer because, it's important to enjoy, but and there's people excited, no doubt, about the start of football season. So we wanted to make sure we commemorated that the best way we could. And that was, I thought, the best way to get our show started. With that, a lot to get to today. You mentioned our guest lineup is loaded. I'll be honest, last night after the official chaperone duties, that's my first reel doing that. So it wasn't just me and Jackman. I had a few other kids I was responsible for as well, which, by the way, for any parents that have more than one kid, I salute my hat to you. I have no idea how you do that because one is, we're good there, but holy cow. Anyway, point being, I was donezo last night. Literally, I'm sitting in my chair. My wife had to literally yell my name because she couldn't get my attention. I was that out. So I say this with all foreclosure, the whole disclosure. I didn't see one lick of the hockey game. The first time I saw highlights of it was this morning. Basketball, I tried my best, but that was between my eyes closed. And so as we show you game 2, this will be new to me as well, frankly, between the Spurs and the Thunder last night. I know who won the game. How it transpired is left to imagination. This guy is out of a dream. Wembanyama wasn't as sensational as he was in game one, which, how could you be? The game got chippy. I'll say this. Chet Holmgren stepped on Wemby. Dirty play there. This is not. Dylan Harper got hurt as he and Holmgren collide. He left the game. Harper, you'd say, was one of the main reasons why they beat the Timberwolves. He was sensational in that series. The MVP showed up last night. SGA was not good in game one. He acknowledged that afterwards. Not the case last night. He was pretty darn good. Thunder up 8. Driving the finish there. You knew Chet had to be better as well. Holmgren has been totally schooled against Wemby this entire season. He was better last night. They get a drop. I mean, the guys that needed to play well, especially off the bench for OKC, was that. Again, Wembanyama's going to get his stuff. All of that said, the Spurs were down just 5 with under a minute to go. SGA, though, creates some space. That mid-range jump shot, he is just sensational at. That puts them up by 7. They lost Jalen Williams again last night. Alex Caruso, who was fantastic in game one, was pretty good again last night. Thunder even it up, 122-113, the final score. Wemby had 21 and 17 to go along with 6 assists and 4 blocks. The star was SGA. The MVP had 30 last night and leading the Thunder. Added in 9 assists as well. Series tied now at a game apiece. Game 3 of that will be tomorrow night as the series will shift to Oklahoma City. We've got game 2 with the Knicks and Cavs tonight. Also first time I'm seeing this, the hockey game last night. Game 1, Avalanche and the Golden Knights. Remember, Colorado's been off for a week. They played like it because Vegas came in and stole the show right away. Dylan Coughlin scores, makes it 1-0 visitors. 2.5 minutes later, Pavel Dofarev comes in. He will score on a power play goal. Vegas! They lead at 2-0 against Colorado on the road. Remember, they have not lost at home yet. Had the Avalanche in this postseason. They're not done. Brett Howden, remember he scored the game winner earlier in this postseason. He scores on the rebound. Vegas leads it 3-0 early in the third period on the road against Colorado. The Avalanche, though, wake up. Gabriel Landeskog will score here. They had pulled the goalie and had a power play, so it's a 6-on-4. That makes it 3-2. With 2.5 minutes to go. We've seen this script before, right, Minnesota Wild fans? Instead, the pride of St. Cloud State, Nick Dowd will come up with an empty net goal after a big save down low from Carter Hart, who was great again. And the Vegas Golden Knights go into Denver and win game 1. There's the Dowd empty netter. 4-2 the final to take game 1. They lead that series 1-0. Finally, Carolina and Montreal are going to play tonight. Carolina's been off for 12 days, the longest stretch of off time in 100 years in the National Hockey League. Game 1 of the East Finals is tonight. Also, yesterday, tucked in with a little matinee with the Minnesota Twins facing the Astros. Joe Ryan got the start for Minnesota and got finally some offensive help as the Twins were going for a series win against the Astros. Victor Caratini gets things started for Minnesota with a blast to deep right center. Ties the game up at 1. Then Joe Ryan went to work. Since he left the game earlier this month against, I think, Toronto, he's been untouchable. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts yesterday. Ryan Kreidler would come up to the plate in the bottom of the 4th. There, he just got called up when Matt Wallner got sent down. He hits a 2-run home run, 3-run home run to left center. 416-foot shot makes it 4-1. Twins bullpen did its job. Gomez went 2 innings. Andrew Morris goes the 9th. And the Minnesota Twins win a series. I say that almost with a question mark. 4-1 the final yesterday as they take 2 of 3 against the Astros. Off day today. They're off to Boston. We'll have Corey Provis join us tomorrow from Fenway Park. We'll break. We come back. The new head coach of Bemidji State, Madison McKeever, will join us on Taking Over after a great run playing in both Winnemac and South Dakota. That's coming up when we come back.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Welcome back, everybody. Thursday show off and rolling. One of the cool stories I found out yesterday when the inbox opened up to find out Bemidji State has hired a new women's basketball head coach, and it's a familiar name and face to anybody that has followed girls or women's basketball in this area for the last 10 years. Gosh, I'm going to date myself and hopefully not her. But Bemidji State hired Madison McKeever yesterday as their new women's basketball head coach. Comes obviously after a run as assistant coach at the University of St. Thomas, Concordia St. Paul, outstanding playing career at South Dakota. She won a state championship at Winnemac. She joins us here this morning. I'm now officially calling you head coach. I am old. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on your show today. Yeah. It means the world.
So we were talking, I saw you in Sioux Falls. Obviously, we knew that St. Thomas was going to go through a change with Ruth retiring. You take it from there over the last 6 weeks of what's gone on.
Honestly, it's been a whirlwind of just emotions and figuring out what's kind of next for me. I've enjoyed my time at St. Thomas, learned a lot under Ruth's sin for the last 4 years, especially them transitioning from Division III to Division I. But saw this opportunity at Bemidji and was super excited about it. Went for it, had a great time through the interview process. Loved everyone I met on campus, especially the staff, the girls. They're such good people. And once I left campus, I was like, I want this job so bad. It felt like home for me. And so to get that call that I got the opportunity, it's been just unreal.
What was that phone call like?
Honestly, when she announced it, I was jumping up and down. She couldn't see it on the phone, but I was almost in tears because this is something I've dreamed about for a very long time. And my time at USD, my time at Concordia, like you said, in St. Thomas, I know it has prepared me for this moment.
I mean, you have been coached by some of the greats. I mean, I just think of obviously Ruth forever, Dawn Plitzowite's pretty good coach. What did you have had like coaching? Thinking like when you were playing that this was something you wanted to go down that road?
So I actually went to school for elementary education and always knew I was going to do some type of coaching within that. And I know going into my last year at USD, Don really talked to me about, have you ever thought about college coaching? And never thought about it in that moment, but I got into the WBCA, So You Want to Be a Coach program, hoping was going to go and experience that, but we had COVID. And so took a job at Concordia right after in the unknown time, and it's kind of worked out from there, and I enjoy every bit of it.
What was getting the bug like when you started working at Concordia St. Paul? What was okay, I can see myself doing this?
Yeah, I was very familiar with the NSIC, even through my recruiting process and my younger sister, Mariah McKeever, who played at Moorhead in her time. But right then and there, I knew she let me have hands-on and everything to start, and which is really cool experience. But I just knew the impact I could have at players at that age, and that's something I really enjoyed, and the relationships I built with them.
Now, you've spent the last 4 years at St. Thomas, and obviously seen things change there in terms of going from D3 to D1 and the level of players. What was your responsibilities for people that don't know? How did that evolve over the last handful of years?
Well, I first started out as a director of operations, so I got to do all the behind-the-scenes stuff, and honestly, loved every bit of it. So glad I learned that piece of it. But at that point, I couldn't be on the floor, and that was super hard for me. I knew I loved that relationship, doing the skill work with the players. So then that next year, I moved in the assistant role, was main recruiter at that time while doing scouts, player development. But this past season, I moved into the head assistant role. Really took on the player development side of it and the defensive coordinator for the St. Thomas team.
What was that like experience-wise, considering you're still really young here and doing this and having a head assistant job already?
Yeah, and honestly, especially the defensive side this past year, you know how I played as an athlete. The defensive side is what I take pride on, and so learning all those aspects, even under Ruth Sin these last 4 years, from her going from high school D3 and then taking on the Division I, I've seen a lot of what it takes. And the biggest thing with this role, I know how much support I have behind me. Not going to be easy. It's not going to just come right away, but I know the time I've learned from them and the amount of people that have my back for this opportunity has been unreal, and I'm super excited about it.
When your players would say, Thomas, did they know you were really, really good? Was that something that was readily? I know you didn't tell them, but did they know, hey, you could play?
I don't think they quite understood it right away, but the amount of film that they pulled up on me randomly, I'm like, all right, guys, we can take that down. And they got the whole mad dog down and, that whole chant. But no, they, I think, figured out by the end how decent I was.
Oh, we're going to be on decent. Come on. You scored 3,000 high school points. That state championship, I distinctly remember interviewing you for how big a deal it was for Winnemac to do that. So you go down to Williams Arena and win a state championship. And now, gosh, here we go, 10 years ago on that. But describe what that was like and just getting your name even more out there after winning the state title.
Well, honestly, at that point, I didn't even quite understand it. As a sophomore, going in unseeded, and really having that Cinderella story, at that point, I didn't even fully grasp how big that was, I felt like, at the moment. And the exposure I got from that really took my career on, especially that's how I really developed in the AAU world and the recruiting atmosphere. But that time, I mean, to think, you're kind of just going to play your first game against Mount Iron Buell. We lost to him that summer before. And I'm like, well, let's just go and get everything we got to go from winning to winning the next game they had a chance to win it by a buzzer shot, and then to win the championship against the number one team. You couldn't have a better story, I'd say.
Were you getting recruited at that point, or did the phone start ringing after state?
It definitely started ringing more after the state tournament. And just because, where I'm from, we don't have all that exposure. And so once I finally got there and kind of made my mark, people were like, all right, who is this kid? Blonde hair, 5'6" girl that has a little fight to her.
So when South Dakota when they offered, how much did that change? Like, okay, this is Division I basketball. What did that mean to you?
It honestly meant the world.
Yeah.
And I could tell at that point I was recruited by Amy Williams, who now is the Nebraska head coach. The amount of support and confidence they gave me, in the time I had through that recruiting process, when I went to campus, how they were with my family on my visit, and the people that are around and the success they've had, I knew that was the right spot for me.
So you go on, you were pretty decent at the USD. I think we could say you had a tremendous playing career there. Those memories, what about that? Those games with South Dakota State, what stands out about playing time in Vermilion?
Honestly, the best games I had were always against our rivals, SDSU. It didn't matter if we played the South Carolinas, whoever we've all played. Super cool games, but I think the best was just the amount of people that supported women's basketball in South Dakota. You just can't explain it unless you're a part of it. And the amount of support that the fans had at USD, just for me as an individual, it's such a special place. Until you actually experience it yourself, it's even hard to describe. But my time there, to have a record, I think 110-24, it's unreal, and it's all because of our coaching staff.
Tell me if this is accurate. I have Google Maps says it's about an hour from Erskine to Bemidji. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's about an hour east from Erskine. So super excited about that. Just to have that support and the people that are around my hometown area. The amount of people that from there have reached out to me in the last 24 hours. Yeah. It's pretty sweet.
What is you got to have a massive family section for every home game, I'm anticipating, right?
And that's the beauty of it. Yeah. And that's the main purpose of why I looked at that university. And that's going to help me recruit. It's going to help me build the atmosphere in the stands. And I think it brings a little more excitement to that hometown area too. And they've been a huge support for me since I've been a little girl going on to college. They've been following my career since I've left, and to kind of come home to them, it's a pretty cool feeling.
So I was joking with you off air here. Do you have a roster like this day and age? I asked that because of the amount of movement. Tell me about what you're walking into at Bemidji State.
Yeah, they've definitely have a squad. We have about 13 girls right now. And having conversations with them when I was on campus, and I've been on the phone with them this whole past week, you can tell they're ready to go and they have excitement too. It's a lot of fun. I can tell that they care for one another and they're really excited for me. And that's such a cool feeling to walk in with open arms and they're ready to get to work. And for me too, I'm not used to this Division II summers off type of schedule. I'm itching at the bits to get started. So,
you know the NSIC though well. I mean, Duluth, what Mandy did at Duluth, obviously now she's coaching where you just were at St. Thomas. We know, the level of Northern's always been good. What is it going to take for Bemidji to get into that level again and be near the top of the league?
Yeah, honestly, I think it comes down to our toughness and being consistent with it. Again, like how I played, it's going to come from the defensive side of the game, and we're going to have to start from the beginning. We're going to work our butts off. We're going to be unselfish. We're going to have that relentless effort, and I think the biggest thing, if we can do that and be consistent with it, you will see a lot of success at Bemidji.
You were joking earlier with have your mom and dad ever missed a game either you or your sister played in?
No, I don't think so. At least one of them has been there. I know my mom, even when I was at USD, would drive there for the game and drive back in the same night. And honestly, they have been the biggest supporters for all of us kids through all of our journeys. And it's really incredible. And I know they're excited. Now they got another team to support this winter, and you bet they're going to be there. And that's the best thing. And I can't thank them enough for the opportunities they have provided me, and I wouldn't be where I am today without them.
Last thing before I let you go, and I appreciate you doing this. What's we're done with the Zoom. What's first on the agenda? What's on the to-do list today?
Honestly, just taking it all in and thanking everyone who's reached out. I mean, from the last 24 hours, I got a first person that called me was the president at the university.
Wow.
And then ever since this news has came out, the amount of support and people that have reached out, I have to thank them today. It's been a unreal 24 hours, and I'm just so thankful, and I'm just ready to get started.
All right, who's the most famous person that's reached out? Who's one that we would know? You got one that would say, wow, that one called you. You got one?
I don't think so. Everyone, it's been unreal. I haven't even really looked at them all, and I feel bad just because it's been nonstop, and I feel like right now it's today I gotta look at it and get back.
See, I'm gonna take that. I feel pretty good. You got back to me, so I feel pretty good about that. That you got back because I know how crazy the last few days have been. Thanks so much for doing this. Congratulations, and we'll catch up before basketball season gets going. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for having me.
There she goes, Madison McKeever, the new head coach of the Bemidji State women's basketball team, officially announced yesterday. The 11th all-time coach in women's basketball history. You saw the video, and I remember going to those games in Winger, Erskine, or McIntosh. That's Winnemac for those that are uninitiated that watch our show in western North Dakota or South Dakota. They were packed when she would play. And when they went and won the state tournament, the Class A tournament, you saw that video, which seems like it's from 1985 and not 2015, 14, I can't remember. She was a great player at South Dakota. Those teams were always good. And that was obviously during a really down time for the Bison women. That USD could come in here and set the score. And McKeever was another one of those players that the Bison didn't even talk to at that time, which was mind-numbing to me. There was so many in that time, from Tylee Irwin at Wahpeton to, of course, she went on and had a great career at South Dakota State. Madison McKeever and Erskine that went on and had a great career at South Dakota. That not to say that they could have come here and been great, we don't know, but they didn't even get offered. And obviously it worked out for the best for what McKeever did for her time at South Dakota. And we'll look forward to having her on the show quite frequently going forward. All right, let's break here. We'll get caught up. We got a big second hour planned as well as we roll on a beautiful Thursday morning. Hot Mike back after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. A lot going on there. Andrew Nagy from Point Loma College out in California will join us in about 35 minutes. I can't say for sure. I'm pretty close on this. It might be the last Bison basketball edition. Their sixth separate transfer they've had for the offseason. Will join us coming up later on in the show to talk about his journey to NDSU. By the way, email came in. Shout out to the NDSCS softball team. Here we go again. Yesterday, the Wildcats won both of their games, including the evening game, which saw Ella Stewart pitch a perfect game with 12 strikeouts against 15 batters faced. Is that good? Wildcats will play tonight at 6, and with a win, they'll advance to the national championship game, which will be played Saturday in DeWitt, New York. I know where DeWitt, New York is. That's just outside of Syracuse. I know right where they're at. I think we've done this bit before with the Science softball team, that they are routinely dominant and have a chance here again. So we'll be keeping an eye on them. They play tonight at 6 Central Time, and if they win, they'll play for the national championship coming up Saturday in, I'll say, Syracuse, New York is where they're playing that. So good luck to them. Just, again, another spring where Science softball is just kicking tail like we've been used to there. Appreciate the heads up on that. Got sent that yesterday evening. I want to make sure we got that on the show here today. Also, a shout-out to the Bison men's golf team. Their season ended yesterday. They finished 14th, which is not unexpected. Out of the 14 teams that made it to the regional, ended up shooting rounds of 303, 289, 295. Carter White, freshman, had the best round of the day yesterday. Shot 71. Rylan Petrie, the outstanding golfer from Fertile, was the top golfer for the regional, finished in a tie for 38th at +1 overall. Again, we've featured them over the last couple weeks. The fact that they won it and made it there was the top jewel of their season, considering they did not play a round outside this entire spring. So to make it to the NCAA regionals, that's just the best part of the year. Anything beyond that would have been gravy. They had a great year. The Bison ended up winning the Summit League Commissioner's Cup for the first time in 8 years. That means they accumulated the most points of all the teams in the Summit League. When you look at the champ, they swept in track, they won men's golf, they swept in basketball. That's a pretty darn impressive year they've had on the north side of town. Let's break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. When I mean the next big thing in North Dakota girls basketball, I mean it literally. Mandan's AnnaClaire Bugbee will join us. Talk about her big week. That's coming up when we start hour 2 of Hot Mic after this.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 ready to rock and roll here on a busy Thursday morning. We'll keep the basketball chatter, keep it up here in our second hour. You'll meet NDSU's newest men's basketball transfer in about a half hour. For those that were our eagle-eye viewers that watched our state tournament coverage back in March, or over the last couple of Marches, you'll certainly recognize the name of our next guest who burst on the scene for Mandan last year and now has broken through, because this week not only 1, 2, 3 separate Division I basketball offers have gone to Mandan's AnnaClaire Bugbee, who joins us this morning, fresh off her last final. So we appreciate her making some time for us here today to chat about what I imagine has been kind of a crazy week. Thanks so much for doing this. I'll just start right there. What has this last week been like for you?
Super busy. I haven't even caught up to it. It's been really fast, but just taking time to think about it for a sec. But it's been a blessing. Really good.
So, were you expecting the phone to ring with offers, or has this been out of the blue?
Not fully expecting it, but I went down to South Dakota State and they had interest, so I was hoping, and I was hoping that they would offer me, but I didn't expect anything. I just was hoping that I would get the deal. So
did they offer you in person, or did AJ call you?
SDSU was in person. I was down there on the campus looking around.
Okay, so what was that like, leaving Brookings? Okay, this has happened.
I was in shock kind of still. I didn't realize it's been so fast. We just got home from New Orleans and we were just going down Brookings, and I was like, okay, well, that just happened. Now got to see what happens now.
So I know NDSU offered as well, and then South Dakota. So let's just unpack this a little bit further now that this is reality. How much has your life changed basically in the last, 2 to 3 days?
It's changed a little bit, but of course it's not changed much. It's not done yet, still gotta show up every day and get better. Like it's not for sure that I'm gonna be able to keep getting more or keep them. So I just gotta keep working. It's not for sure.
Have you, at least you mentioned just stopping and, hey, this has happened, like appreciate it? Like you said, it's not done, but like you're just wrapping up your sophomore year of high school. This is now a reality.
Yeah, it's definitely in shock. Like nobody ever expected me to be the one that's getting the offers and stuff. So it's definitely like taking a second for me to hit me, but it's honestly, it's a blessing. It's the best thing that could happen for me right now.
All right, I had to ask this question. I'm sure you've had it 1,000 times, but did you have a growth spurt? Were you always, you're 6'2", correct?
Yeah, something like that.
So was it gradual or did it just happen all at once?
I was always a little bit taller, but when I was a 7th grader, I wasn't very big. I just kind of stood around, didn't care about basketball. But when I hit 8th grade, I started growing a little bit, started training, started hitting the gym as much as I could. And I grew a little bit, got a little bit faster. So, yeah.
So basketball wasn't always a first love is what you're saying?
No, not at all. I did not care about it until 8th grade. Until 8th grade. And yeah.
When you realized you were taller than most everybody else?
Yeah, I started training with our head coach at the time, Henderson, and he like put some might in me, and it made me believe in it, and I started doing it.
So tell me about that. Okay, coming to it late now and developing, and has it become a passion for you now that, hey, this is something that can take me places I never thought?
Yeah, it's definitely a passion of mine. Now I go and I work out, and like it's just a dream that I'm trying to fulfill. I'm trying to make younger kids be like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to, like, because nobody's getting offers from North Dakota, really. Like, there's a couple big ones, but it's also like, oh, I'm a girl from like a smaller town. Like, I didn't really care, but I started working and I was able to get offers. Now I can go places.
We've seen you play at State the last couple of years. I watched you this past March. Tell me what this experience is like, knowing you weren't sneaking up on anybody anymore, that people knew where number 30, your number was out on the floor.
I still hasn't even got to me. Like, I still feel like I'm the underdog. Like, nobody really thinks that I'm going to be anything. So it's still like every day I have to come and prove myself. And when I don't, I feel like I need to get back in the gym. I need to get better and prove myself once again. It's always just me proving myself.
Well, the WDA is pretty good proving ground. You're going up against Lily Bell. I'm watching you in the semifinal. You held your own there, and you know full well she's going to go play at Oklahoma. What was that like to face her 3 times this past year?
She's a really good basketball player, and honestly, it's actually awesome that I get to play against somebody like her that's really good at basketball, someone I get to try and be as good as and try and reach where she is. So that's just like my thing is I get to play against one of the best basketball players in the country, and I get to get better, and I get to see what I need to do to get even close to her maybe one day.
Is that a video you want to go back and watch, or is it a tough watch when you're watching you play defense against her?
It's definitely a tough watch. It's definitely not easy, and I just know that I've worked at it, but it's definitely a tough watch, and it's not something I really want to keep watching.
I don't blame you. Give us a little of the view into what your summer is like here. You just mentioned you got back from New Orleans from an AAU trip there. How you play for North Tartan, one of the top AAU teams, frankly, in the country, not just in the Midwest. What is AAU season like from now until basically August when school starts again?
Lots of traveling. I go to practice every week. Just like everybody else, we go to tournaments. It's just a grind. It's really a grind. We go out, we go practice for 3 hours, 2 times a week, and we go out to these cities where no one really knows, but we go out there, we prove ourselves, and we're doing pretty good for ourselves.
Well, we were talking off air. You're playing with Shanley's Riley Sievert. To have both of you guys in the front court, does anybody score on your team against you?
Riley and I are pretty good together. I really like her, and I think we definitely make an impact there.
I would say so. If you consider the kind of height, kind of size that's around the rim, what is that like, AnnaClaire, playing with that kind of players, playing with that on a weekly basis at AAU? How much do you feel like that's elevated your game or accelerated your game?
It's definitely like changed my game. Like the play from North Tartan and Mandan is 2 different things. Yeah. So it's definitely making me versatile, and playing with players that can score on every level. It's making me be a better teammate and be there for my teammates and score sometimes, but like I know my teammates got me no matter what.
You were a second-team All-State selection as a sophomore. What did that mean to you?
I was surprised. I was like, there's got to be more players that are better than me in the state. But, just like I said, I had to go out there and I proved myself, and I played pretty well. But, of course, there's always things I can work on. But I was like, oh, that's a good thing. But now I got first team I want to make next year. Like, I got places I want to grow to.
Well, I'm looking at the list of players here. All of them are going to go on and play at the next level, yourself included. I mean, you got to be pretty humbled by that and excited. Like you mentioned, you still have a couple years to go.
Yes, very exciting. And yeah, so many good basketball players in the state that have just grew. So I'm pretty blessed to be the top 10 on that team.
I feel like it wasn't that long ago I was talking with Mandan's McKenna Johnson when she was getting offered as a sophomore, and she just wrapped up her freshman year at NDSU. How big a deal was her playing for you growing up watching McKenna play?
It was a big deal. It's like I looked up to her, like we play similar positions, and I was like, okay, she's going places, I want to go places too. And just kind of gave me, like, I went up against her in practices. I said, I'm not going to give it easy. And like, I went up against her, gave her my all. And, I was like, okay, I can play, and I can play at levels as much as she can.
What was that like going up against her?
I don't think she liked it sometimes because I was pushing, shoving. I was a little 8th grader. I did not care who you were. I was going to be out there pushing and shoving. So I don't know if she liked it all the time, but it was good.
You I know you run track, you play volleyball. How much do those other sports help you in basketball and vice versa? That though you do basketball, that helps you in other sports?
For volleyball and track is just to like get out there, run, do something.
Yeah.
But really just get my mind off of like all this stuff. Like there's a lot of pressure that comes with basketball, but like volleyball and track, I had to go out there and just be myself and play and have fun. So generally like that, my mindset just get me out there. But basketball helps with like jumping and running and all that stuff. But definitely my competitiveness comes from basketball, so that helps with those two.
For volleyball, it also seems like a clear, like that makes total sense for your size and your athleticism. Is that something you still want to pursue, or is it all basketball all the time now?
It's definitely something I pursue. I mean, I love the sport. I like the team what we have right now, and it's definitely just an enjoyment that I get to do. So it's definitely not out of the picture, but basketball's giving me a lot of options, so it's high up there.
Not to spill the beans totally, but I'll ask, when the coaches are on the phone that are offering, can you give us like a lowdown of what they're telling you, of what the conversation is like?
They're just telling me that they liked how I played or something like that, and they would love to have me, and just like that they'll keep watching me. And it's just something, they're just like talking to you, and they want you to really believe in like everything that they're telling you. And it's actually a blessing to be able to have those phone calls with them and having those coaches believe in you too, no matter what.
When you hang up, what's the reaction like for you?
I sometimes I'm still in shock. I'm like, dang, like that just happened. Like they're calling me out of any player. So that's like, I sit there and I be like, wow, I'm really blessed to be in this position.
I'm looking ahead for your schedule for this summer. Your summer vacation is a little different than everybody else's, but because you're going to be working, you're going to Vegas and Chicago in July. Tell me about that and what that competition level is going to be like for your AAU team.
Oh, it's going to be very competitive. Right now we're actually 10-0 right now, so we're doing pretty good for our bracket, and I'm really excited to see. The competition is always good no matter what team. They could be 0-10 and still be crazy good, and it's like always a competition. So it's definitely going to be – so we need to work a little bit, keep working, keep building up, and so we can keep our spot. But it's going to be really fun. I'm really excited to see
how is it when, you have major coaches there that they're watching other players, but they're going to watch you. How do you keep that out of your mind?
I try not to think about it, but it's always in your mind. But – for me, I'm just like, you just got to play your game. I know that if my game isn't good enough for them, then that's fine. Like, I know my game, and I know myself, and I know that I'm going to play how I'm going to play, and if they don't like it, then that's not my fault.
When did you realize that, hey, I can, do you play your dad anymore? Does he want to play you in basketball in the driveway, or no? Does that not happen anymore?
No, not really. I play my brother sometimes, but he says he's too lazy to do, or too bored to do it. So he don't want to do it.
So
anymore,
no challengers anymore. It's over and done with.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. A couple guys from my school want to play me, but
How's that go for them? I'm assuming not well either, right?
last time it was like 2-7, so I won that. So
I appreciate you doing this. Thanks so much for making time. I know it's finals. You're getting done with school, but congratulations on a crazy week. I know we'll be catching up down the road. Thanks so much for doing this. Have a great summer, okay?
Thank you.
AnnaClaire Bugbee joining us from Mandan, North Dakota, offered now by South Dakota State, North Dakota State, and South Dakota, Eastern Illinois in there as well, member of the class of 2028. That's a name to keep your eyes on here down the road. I know we've got some visitors here, I believe from Sargent County, from North Sargent, which means one of my favorite people will join us here in studio. Always a fun time we get a field trip coming by the station. Hot Mic continues. We're back on WDAY Extra. Wave hi, guys. You're on TV. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. We got a full house here. That's in our studio control room. We got students here from North Sargent. I get, it's Sargent County to me. I get it, but North Sargent here. And then here in studio, we got a full house as well. We do this every year with one of my favorite people. He is, guys. He is one of my favorite people. Eric Olson joins us, who's longtime head football coach at Sargent County. You brought your students here today to see WDAY, huh?
We got 5th and 6th graders from North Sargent today on our field trip.
Nice.
So yeah, we'll check out WDAY this morning, and then we'll go up to the Fargo Air Museum.
Oh, cool.
After lunch today,
all right.
So.
You guys got a swell deal. So I was chaperoned yesterday. We went to the Wahpeton Zoo for my son, who's in 1st grade, and that was a hoot. But he comes to the station all the time, so that's not a big deal for him. So
were the otters out yesterday?
They were. He was really excited about that. Tell me about you've done this forever, about bringing kids up here. Tell me why.
You know what? Just to get a behind-the-scenes look at what the news is all about. I think some of the kids are excited to see the green screen when we go up to the studio, and but yeah, just I think the kids enjoy the behind the scenes and being able to see where the news is actually held at, and so I think it's fun for them.
You guys are on TV here, so you can go and brag now when you go home. You're on TV today, okay? So everyone, you can tell. We got. This is 5th and 6th grade, you said?
5th and 6th grade. The other group, they might be a little bit jealous. They're upstairs right now, so they don't get in with you right now.
Well, that's okay. And this is next to last day. You were telling me off air, huh?
Tomorrow's the last day of school, so 12:30. It's celebration time for both the students and the teachers tomorrow.
Tell me about getting another year wrapping up. With the excitement level for you, getting ready for summer, and then before you know it, we're back getting ready for football again.
Summer vacation means driver's education starts on Tuesday morning, and then I'll be driving throughout southeast North Dakota all throughout the summer. So it's never a break.
And I'm going to see you next week because you're umpiring out at the State B baseball tournament, right?
Yep. You just be kind to the umpiring crew next week on your broadcast.
Jack Brown, one of my favorites. Looking forward. To doing that. Tell me about getting ready for another year of football. What's coming up for 2026?
That's August 6th, I think, is the first day of practice. And
hey, at least not August 1. We got to move back a couple days now, right?
Yeah, I think in a couple years, I think we said it was August 2nd or August 3rd is the first day of practice. So it's another whirlwind of a period of time. It seems like I don't know. It's such a rush. It seems like when first couple weeks of school and football practice, and it's exciting times for the kids. though.
Tell me about getting a chance to do this and what the feedback you've got of having kids come up here and doing this.
You know what? There's a couple former students who are now teachers who've been able to take their kids to new studio.
Nice.
And they remembered taking this trip to WDAY, and it's now they're being able to return that to their kids and give them that same experience. So
that's awesome. Let's put him on the spot. How's Mr. O for a teacher? You guys can say it. Oh, is he good? No good? What do we think? Here, come on, let it rip.
Great. So great.
He's okay. There you go. So you got a teacher eval right here. There you go.
Some of them might be lying to you because they're on the spot right now, Dom.
What year is this for you teaching wrapping up now?
23.
Holy cow. That's fantastic. Congratulations. That's fantastic.
It's people remind me it takes a special person, and
totally.
Some days are better than others, right, guys?
Having married a teacher, I can tell you guys that is the toughest job out there, and we need you every day. That's awesome. When you have something like this, tell me about preparation. Maddie emailed me like 3 weeks ago. How early does this start about making something like this happen?
Well, the end of the school year is always seems to be a rush with everything. You're trying to cram everything with our state testing that we took at the end of April, and so I mean we try to get on the horn to make sure that especially with like the Air Museum, to make sure that we're not in with other groups that are on the same days. So try to reach out 3-4 weeks ahead of time, and these guys had their field day yesterday, so it was out in the sun yesterday. We finally had a nice day yesterday.
Fantastic.
We got to be
yesterday.
in short sleeves, and so no, they're anxiously waiting summer vacation.
That's fantastic. When you look at doing something like this together, I mean, obviously it takes not just one. What's the kind of planning like in terms of getting not just yourself, but other people involved to make a trip like this?
And, to contact Maddie, to contact the Air Museum. Actually, we called the Air Museum yesterday, and they didn't have us on the calendar, so it was a little bit stressful of a couple moments. But just making sure we know where we're going to eat and the lunches. The kitchen staff at school to make sure that all the lunches are accounted for, and. It's these guys. They enjoy getting out of the school building. I know that.
Can we talk football for a second?
Can we?
Is that okay if we talk football for a second?
Yes.
What are you doing in Class A? Can we get you back to 9-man? Is that going to happen, or I'm going to get you in trouble? But what's the deal here?
We'll see after next year. It's a strong possibility.
Okay.
But I mean, we've got
this.
rivalries in both divisions. So. Wherever we get put, we'll play. We'd prefer to maybe be in 9-man because I think that's the makeup of our team right now.
Yep.
But if we put us in Class A, we're going to compete in Class A, and the guys are going to bust their butts to, in order to compete. So,
can you hire any of these people to help you? Mow the football field? Is that something are you taking any volunteers? We got some volunteers here for you.
Yeah.
I know that's a point of pride. I don't know if you want to give that up.
I enjoy taking care of the fields in both Milner and Gwinner, and I think we do a pretty good job.
Absolutely.
Of it. And the people that do help us, the janitorial staff, they do help us out, and they put in a lot of work throughout the summer. So it's not just me.
Yeah.
So
I know you got to be involved in the Coaches Association as well. Tell me how big a deal that is for you, and to be part of that you have for so long with the Football Coaches Association.
I enjoy now with my age and experience, I'm kind of mentoring some of these younger coaches and getting to help them out and guide them through some of the high points, some of the low points. No, we've got a good group of board members that kind of navigate through the school year and help with the presentations and help with the convention that we got coming up this summer in Bismarck and at the end of July, and so that kind of segues right into the season then, with the convention at the end of July. But
my last thing here, I really appreciate you guys coming by. For you, have you coached now, or do you have colleagues that either you coached or you coached again, like they were players that you faced that are now coaching now?
You've had Nathan Hoots on here.
Yeah.
He was my quarterback the first year that I coached.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I don't think
absolutely.
I knew that.
Yep. So yes.
Well, now I got to ask him that. So
that's starting to show my age now, Dom. So appreciate you putting
Sorry
that
about
out
that.
on there.
Yeah. That's wild. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's full circle then. That's got to be for you now.
Is, yeah.
That's good stuff. All right, we got to go to break. Thanks so much for coming by, guys. Have a great time here. Have fun at the Air Museum. You have a great summer, and I'll be in touch, okay?
Appreciate it.
There you go.
Thank you, Dom.
Sergeant County head football coach, North Sergeant Kids here in studio joining us. We make this a tradition. We do it every year on Hot Mic. We'll take a break. Wave bye, guys. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on a busy Thursday morning. We have more guests here in studio, so we appreciate them being here. Our final guest of our show today joins us via California. North Dakota State's men's basketball roster nearly complete with the addition of another transfer by way of Long Beach State originally, then Point Loma College out in California. Andrew Nagy joins us this morning to chat about his commitment to play basketball at North Dakota State on this Thursday. Thanks for getting up early with us. Appreciate it. Give us the lowdown on how this came about of coming from Southern California to Fargo, North Dakota.
Yeah, I just had a really good talks with the coaching staff. I first talked to Coach Strachey, and just talking to him, I kind of knew like he was a basketball guy, and one of my people. So I really, like, the top of my list was the coaching staff. I really needed to connect with the coaching staff and really be able to develop under great leadership and just people who care. And that's what I could tell from like the first phone call. And that was really the top of my list. I've moved around a lot, so I really didn't need to be in like the best weather place or something like that. And I'm excited to see snow again. I'm originally from the Midwest, so that'll be fun. And yeah.
Tell me, Andrew, when was the first time you heard from NDSU, and how much did you know anything about them when they reached out?
Yeah, I didn't know much, but Coach Strachey reached out actually, I'd say probably a week and a half ago.
Yep.
He'd kind of been trying to get in contact with my trainer who kind of helps me. His name is Charlie Torres. And they just kind of always missed each other. It kind of seemed to be like he was there and then he was gone for an hour, and they really just didn't meet up. Like the timing just never worked out until kind of a week and a half ago. So first phone call I had with Coach Strachey, it was me and my trainer, and we talked for an hour and a half, and it was just, I didn't really know much about North Dakota State, but I've loved everything I've heard.
What was the 90 minutes? What are you guys talking about in that?
Honestly, we were just talking.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about basketball, but it was mainly we both kind of told our stories, and he kind of told me his story with basketball and how he feels about being a coach at North Dakota State, and like how much they're just in on North Dakota State. And it really showed like the family aspect, and that's big for me. I think I'll be away from my family, and that'll be great to have another family there. And I've heard nothing but good things about all the fans in North Dakota. So I'm just really excited to get there and be a part of a new family.
I'm interested, Andrew. Here we are. It's getting to be late May. Were you getting nervous? Like, hey, I got to find a place to play. What was your perspective on this over the last little bit?
Yeah, for me, I really wasn't getting nervous. I think I knew for me, like throughout this whole process, I've just been praying that God opens the right doors and closes the wrong ones. And this is one that opened and made sense right away. I think it was really clear that like this was the place I should be.
All right, now let's talk some hoops. Give us, we're going to show some highlights of you. Describe your game and what we see on the floor.
Yeah, I'd say I bring like the stretch 4-5. I mean, we don't really talk positions at North Dakota State, but I think a skilled big who can pass, shoot, dribble. I had a great season last year at Point Loma, and those coaches really knew how to develop, and I developed well under them and got to kind of show what I can do, and there's still more that I can show, and the film hasn't even been everything that I can do, and I'm just very confident in my game. I think I know that I can impact winning and be a part of this culture.
You're the Pac West Player of the Year. Your team made it all the way to the Sweet 16. You were a win away from going to the Elite Eight. What was the level of basketball like in Division II compared to when you first stopped at Long Beach State?
I would say not that different. There's obviously some teams in our league that weren't the best, but at my position especially, there was some good talent that I played against this year. And I mean, it's kind of funny, we scrimmaged Long Beach State earlier in the preseason. So we beat them, and like that kind of shows like the level at D2 is not far off from mid-major basketball.
What was that? Was that surreal for you to do that?
It was great feeling. But I really wanted to win. I didn't really care how I played. We got the win, so that was kind of all that mattered.
So to have that kind of season you had last year, player of the year, that kind of, I guess, validate like, hey, I can play. I'm just now looking for a spot?
I think that's something that I kind of knew I could do since a couple of years ago, and it was really cool. I got like the summer before that, I got to play in NBA runs with different guys, and that kind of gave me that confidence. And for me, like I didn't grow up saying like watching D2 sports, so I didn't really know about the Pac West either, and I didn't know about these awards. So like to me, those were just, I guess, kind of representations of the work I've put in, and for me, it's like it's all about the work. That's the only reason I'm here, because of my work ethic, and then like obviously my faith in God and trusting that He'll guide my steps. But for me, like it was just cool.
Yeah.
You know, it was cool to get some recognition, but I knew that I just got to go somewhere where I can be uncomfortable, right? Be uncomfortable in the work, be pushed to be uncomfortable, and that's how you grow. You be uncomfortable, and then you grow.
You mentioned earlier and off air to me, you've lived everywhere. You were born in Kansas City. Give us your life travels and why you've moved around so much.
Yeah, so like for the why, both of my parents are teachers. So my mom was a principal for 30 plus years, and then my dad, he was a teacher in DCE. So, and now he's a pastor actually. So they always they were a good example of move wherever you feel called to go. And so I was born in Kansas City, and before that they lived a couple other places. But born in Kansas City, moved to Cleveland, Ohio, Shanghai, China, which is the interesting one, and then back to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then out to Anaheim, California now. And my parents are actually going through another move right now. They're moving to Las Vegas. So I'm kind of doing a double move this summer. Moving to North Dakota, and then my parents are moving to Vegas. So, but yeah, like my parents just always moved where they felt called, and I think it really helped me kind of gain perspective and being in different places, and especially internationally. Like I have like more of an appreciation for where I live, and just being here is very humbling that I get to have these opportunities. Like these are things that I didn't even think I could do like 5 years ago. So just to be in this position, I'm so grateful, and I'm just excited to move to a different place and kind of have a new chapter. You know.
Well, how old were you when you were in China?
I was 5 through 7.
Okay.
People say, "Oh, you might not remember." I remember a good amount. We got to go to the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand. My parents got to go to Korea and Japan too, and just traveling over there. And my sister, she was a missionary in Taiwan for 3 years. So she was over there for 3 years. I got to visit her too, and it's just been a blessing to be able to travel internationally and see different you've been a world traveler. You've got probably more age than you are, right? Do you feel that? Like I'm maybe older than what I actually am. Yeah, for me, that's kind of always been the case. My parents, they would always be at meetings and stuff, so I'd always be around adults, you know, and that kind of aged me. My Spotify age is 76. Like I listen to oldies, Motown, 80s, 70s. So like I'd say I'm definitely an older soul, I guess. Yeah. But moving around a lot, I think it helped me honestly prepare for what my career has looked like so far in college. Like moving around three different places, and before that, like I was at 5 different schools with my high schools because I transferred my senior year. So I think it definitely prepared me, and then I think it kind of aged me, like you said, and it's given me a good perspective and leadership role. And I think like coming to NDSU, I really want to expand that leadership role. I feel like I'm more of a lead by example kind of person, but I want to practice more servant leadership and also vocal leadership.
What was your I know you talked with Coach Strege almost exclusively. What were your conversations with Coach Richmond like?
Oh, that was great. That kind of sealed it. Like I had my first call with Coach Strege, and then we got on a Zoom with the whole coaching staff and Coach Richmond, like hearing him talk about the different things that he tries to instills in his program. Yeah. That really sold me, and then hearing more about Fargo, right, and hearing more about the family there and the people. It seems like a really good place, and I just wanted to be a part of it. as soon as I heard about it.
So you've committed sight unseen. So what do you have been told, and what do you think you expect when you get here next month?
I expect to be. I know I've heard it's a little smaller. It's a little smaller city than I'm used to. For the last 2 years, for the last 8 years, I've been here in Southern California, and there's a lot of big cities around here. But I'm kind of excited. I like the more smaller, tight-knit community, and that's kind of what I've heard. Like, even if it's cold, right? You're not going to be outside. You're going to be in the gym, right? And that's just really, really intriguing to me. I think it's a place I can be challenged mentally, physically, and then just as a leader too.
Sorry about that. What do you know on the Summit League, or is that something you're finding out about the level of competition that plays against NDSU on a regular basis?
I've had a couple past teammates that have played in the Summit League, so I've heard about it. I know it's a great mid-major league. I think we can definitely win it again this year, and that'll be pretty cool.
That experience last year, Andrew, of being a win away from the Elite Eight, how much is that just nip at? Like we had a great team, and we're this close to making it to the ultimate goal.
Yeah, it was very, very, I'd say, propelling, right? Like I had a chip on my shoulder before that, and I have an extra chip, right? I've got a couple chips on my shoulder, and that's what I'm going to bring to Fargo. I think that's what I am. Like I just work, and that's really what I want to bring to this team, and that Elite Eight, being one game away from that, and knowing like we probably would have won the next one, and so that really did put a chip on my shoulder. I think I can't wait to be a part of a winning culture again, and yeah.
Last thing, you are, if I have this right, since you were born in Kansas City, you're a Chiefs fan. You're coming to Vikings and Packer country now?
Hey, I am a Chiefs fan a little bit. It's just kind of because where I was born. I've been following since before we were winning.
Gotcha.
I get it a lot. You're a bandwagon. You're only there because of winning. I've had a Chiefs jersey since I was 5.
Nice.
We weren't then. So I get I'm a Chiefs fan. Might be a little rough around there, but I also had family in Minnesota. A little bit of a Vikings fan.
Okay. All right.
Not the biggest Packers fan.
Well, you know what? As long as you're not like a Bears fan around here, then you're okay. that if you're good on that, then you're all
Bears
set.
Fan. I'd rather root for both of those teams than the Bears.
I appreciate you doing this, bud, and waking up early. Safe travels out here. Look forward to meeting you in person here in the next few weeks, and thanks for the time this morning, okay?
Yep, no problem.
Congratulations.
Right,
there he is, Andrew Nagy joining us, newest Bison basketball transfer. He'll be joining the NDSU roster for this upcoming year. That makes a total of 6 that NDSU has added for the upcoming year. They got to 15 players. They have 6 incoming transfers. They have 6 incoming freshmen, and they had 3 holdovers. My math isn't great, but 6 plus 6 plus 3 is 15, right, guys? I think I got that right. So I don't know if they're going to add anybody else, but that maybe will finish out their roster for next season. Big dude, 6'9", and can shoot it. And they needed some height, and they got it from a guy who was really good in the Division II ranks. All right, we'll take our final break. We come back, we'll put a bow on things and get you ready for a pretty nice sports Thursday. Hot Mike will wrap up on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on this Thursday morning. Corey Pro is back with us tomorrow as the Twins are in Boston. We'll also have an update on day 1 of the state track meet. That gets going later today at 3 o'clock. We'll give you all the TV info on that before we say goodbye here today. But you'll be able to stream everything for the next 3 days, and televised coverage will go on tomorrow and on Saturday. We'll give you all the info on that before we put a bow on things here today. Seeing a few other messages come in on today being the 100 days out for other college teams that are playing in week 0. Obviously, we know North Dakota State is playing Jacksonville State on that opening Saturday of the college football season. The other games that day, on that Saturday, we got Hawaii at Stanford. We'll keep an eye on that Hawaii team. Obviously, we're going to see them Memphis at UNLV. This is almost like Mountain West Saturday. UNLV, obviously, we'll be seeing later this year. That game will be televised as well. I think that game will follow the Jacksonville State NDSU game, if I was a betting man. San Jose State, there's another team we're going to see this year. They're at USC. New Mexico State at Florida State. Sacramento State, there's another team we're going to see later this year at Eastern Michigan. Those games we don't know times for yet. North Carolina, TCU are playing that day. That game is in Dublin on ESPN. And then the game in Rio later that day, North Carolina State and Virginia also on ESPN. There are a few other TV obligations that weekend. That's the Little League World Series weekend. So ABC is filled with that on that Saturday. Obviously baseball's got contractually obligated through Fox at that time of year. There's NASCAR and the CW has that at that particular time. I think Live Golf has got something if they're still solvent by then. The CW has some obligations, but at that time of the year, networks are salivating to get their hands on football. That's why ESPN jumped on it. I imagine Fox will as well, and the CBS Sports Network will too. With that many Mountain West teams playing, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them playing. That falls under their contract windows. Outside of the Sac State game. Sac State's at Eastern Michigan. That's a MAC game. That'll be on ESPN Plus. I would imagine on the gray turf. I don't know if that's a prime matchup to get one of the network games. I imagine that's a streaming only. But the rest of them, San Jose State's at USC. That's technically a Big Ten game, Big Ten network. So that could be on Fox. That could be on CBS. One of those two will hammer it out. Maybe NBC if they wanted to, potentially for that game. But UNLV being at home and North Dakota State being at home fall under the Mountain West television umbrella. So they'll have the first dibs. And I'd imagine certainly being the first FBS game makes that awfully intriguing if you're a television network, and knowing it's probably going to be a pretty good atmosphere here for that game, that they'll have it. And I would say that our long nightmare, at least of not knowing some of the Bison television schedule and game times, will be over next Wednesday. Doesn't mean the whole schedule. I'd say probably a handful of games we'll probably know next Wednesday. We might have to do a whole special on that. I'm considering it, knowing the level of attention and interest in it, and hopeful that you're going to see our call letters in there as well during that time frame coming up. So we'll keep you updated on that. Let's see. We talked about the Royce Lewis news of being sent down to the minors. We had that on Tuesday. It became official later on Tuesday night. I'm sure Sam got into that yesterday on the show. We'll see. Again, between him and Matt Wallner, there's hopefully that's the reset that Jeremy Zoll, who's the general manager of the Twins, talked about that they need to get themselves back to the majors. One other email here before we do some what to watch. Dom, seems like the Spurs got what they asked for last night. Interested to see what happens the rest of the series. I wish he had more time to show, because it was a dirty play. The Chet Holmgren stepping on Wembanyama's foot on purpose. It was dirty. I'm not sure if they just missed it or whatever the referees did, but I mean, if that's what it's resorting to get the guy out of the game, then come on. We'll see what happens now when that series goes to San Antonio for game number 3 tomorrow night. Be awfully intrigued to see what that atmosphere will be like now with a game apiece. We got Knicks and Cavs coming up tonight as well. With that, let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. All righty, what to watch brought to us by our great friends at Northwestern Mutual. Here we go. State track meet gets officially underway today at 3 o'clock. You can stream events today on WDAY+. There's different events happening, including our first on the track events happening. This is what you've got going on today. The 4x2 relay prelim will get going at 4:30. Then the 3,200 meter run is tonight at 5:15. You'll stream that on WDAY+. Also, field events in long jump, discus, high jump, shot put, pole vault, A boys long jump, discus, high jump, and shot put. You'll see all of that today on WDAY Plus, and then we'll give you the TV info coming up tomorrow. Mention, we got Cavs-Knicks game number 2 coming up tonight on ESPN at 7 o'clock. Canadiens on the Hurricanes at the same time on TNT. And the Byron Nelson underway on the Golf Channel. Tom Hoagie playing in that. We'll update you on that coming up tomorrow. Our thanks to Andrew Nagy, AnnaClaire Bugbee, Madison McKeever, of course, to Tim Polasek, who started our show. If you missed any of it, you can go back and podcast it later today at Inforum.com. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow.